Well, good evening and welcome to this edition of the Countdown to the Bermuda Track and Field Challenge. I'm your host, Earl Baston. Joining me is none other than Mark Dwyer from Flow Sport. Mark, it was a matter of 7 months ago, and I say 7 months ago only because I want to show how fast 2023 is going. We are almost halfway through the year. And it was in December of last year that we had the Bermuda Cross Country Challenge that saw quite a few uh, students from overseas high schools take part in our cross country championship, national cross country championships. And here's another opportunity for these young people to come back to Bermuda in a track and field aspect. How let's go back before we actually start to go forward. Let's talk a little bit about that cross country championships. You would have been told in the lead up and the setup because you were part of all of that, helping to make it happen. When you arrived on the island and you got to see the course and everything the day before, were you expecting what you saw in Bermuda? Because let's just say um, been the first place outside of the U.S. to hold such an event in collaboration with Flow Sport and Milesplit. So, were you surprised?
Yeah, it's a great question, Earl. There's a lot to unpack there, and I'm going to dive in. But firstly, I really wanted to thank you for having me on your program. I know this is a very coveted weekly spot that you have here with Island Stats, and we're kind of joining worlds with your mile split Bermuda duties in rev up to next week's big meet. I cannot wait to return to the beautiful island of Bermuda and enjoy the competition that is sure to be outstanding next week with the track and field athletes. As you asked, for a retrospective going back to December and our inaugural experience on your island with the XC Challenge, going in, I entered with a very open mind. I wasn't sure what to expect. I tried to do my due diligence and do some homework. Scouting out what athletics was like in Bermuda. I had never been there before. To be honest with you, I wasn't particularly familiar with the youth athletes and kind of what they bring to the table and what even distances they can test and kind of how they score their meets. And I had a very big learning curve, and I tried to embrace that in the lead up. One of the aspects that I really enjoyed in the march up to the XC Challenge was having the opportunity to interact with a number of the coaches and the parents of the athletes. I was lucky enough to get connected to them via my manager at MileSplit Flow Sports, Joe Battaglia, who has a great relationship with Freddie Evans of the BNAA, and he put me in touch with all kinds of people. It gave me access to, like I said, parents and coaches, and I just kind of went ahead and cold called them over email and text, and introduced myself and said, I really want to learn about the athletes and their experiences, kind of what their accolades have been, and the response, I was overwhelmed. It was just a tremendous response. Everybody wanted to participate. Everybody was very hospitable and accommodating to my needs. And due to that collaboration and that cooperation, again spearheaded by Dr. Evans, but really kind of gave the baton to these parents and even some of the athletes I dealt with directly. They just gave me a tremendous amount of information and fantastic insight to again what their experiences were, and then ultimately what their goals were going to be. So when I actually arrived in Bermuda, I felt like I kind of had a little bit of a leg up on the competition, and felt like I was somewhat familiar with these people that I was going to be crossing paths with and
Mhm.
spending a lot of time with in the subsequent days ahead.
Yeah. When you talk about, I mean, I was smiling a lot there because, you know, you're your first impression of what your thoughts would be, and then you get on the island, and you experience it and so forth. And I do want to say that Dr. Evans, the president of the Bermuda National Athletic Association, wanted to join us this evening. Unfortunately, he's had a Bermuda Olympic Association annual general meeting to attend at the last minute, so he's unable to join us. But we want to make sure that we give them the opportunity to to join us, and we're going to make another availability for them on Monday to come back, because we want to make sure that everyone understands the importance of this Bermuda Track and Field Challenge, and what it could do for not only our athletes, but we have a bunch of young people and adults coming to the island for a 2-day track meet that we can expect to be high level for the age groups in which they compete. Now, Mark, when you look at the experience you had back in December with the cross country meet, the elevation, we have a lot of hills and valleys in a small little area.
Earl, I am a runner myself. I do not claim to be an elite athlete like those who we covered in December and we are going to see next week. But I am in the USA what they call a weekend warrior, and what you say is extremely true. I put myself to the test. Every run that I had on your island felt the scenery was absolutely spectacular, but it was physically and mentally and emotionally demanding. Let's put it that way. The elements are unlike any other that I've experienced. I've run in a lot of different places, but certainly it's not about me. It's about the athletes. And one of the aspects that resonated big time when I was getting a sort of a lay of the land at the venue the day before, we were doing some kind of pregame interviews and those sorts of things that we do. The elevation on that course,
Yes.
what a daunting challenge that those cross country runners encountered. But you know what, XC runners, that's what they want. That's what they like. I think it was a measured 5-kilometer race, but in XC, we're not so concerned about time. It's all about testing yourself and getting to the line first and scoring points for your team. But wow, what a layout that was on the Botanical Gardens grounds. What a difficult course to negotiate, but so much fun.
Sure. I'm pretty sure the ones that come back for this track and field challenge would probably be very much more relieved at the fact that they're using a track and not, the Arboretum or the Botanical Garden. They'll probably take family members by the Botanical Garden and say, "This is where I had that grueling race that I still talk about today."
They should do a after their formal business is over and they've done the best they can in their track events. They should go do a cool down run there again, just for the experience. Again, it is
this time they can take
demanding.
photos. The next time they can take photos, they couldn't take photos the first time. So we've had a few track meets and of late, and of course in Bermuda we've had close to 29 straight days of rain that we've struggled to be able to compete in track and field. We've struggled to be able to do a lot of outdoor activity. Sure. But with this event coming up, I'm pretty sure we're going to see a challenge in the under 17 boys 1 and 200 meters. We have a young man, Miles Otterbridge, who ran in Carifta and done extremely well. He's young, up and coming, but he offers a different element to a track meet. He's very determined. He's one of those ones that when you're on the start line, I mean, he could run, and he's run 11.2, but he's also run a little faster, 11.1, and that's in the 100. 23.4 in the 200, and he's going a little faster than that. So the competition that he will face, it would demand that he runs a little faster. Now, whether or not he wins or whether or not he comes fifth or whatever. It just, the opportunity that these kids, even the overseas kids, will have is to see a new face and experience new competition. Is that sort of the the way when this was thought of? That's what the ultimate goal was.
100%, Earl. And I mean, I think you give me a great segue, and there's just so much tie-in there. Ultimately, again, to briefly go back to the XC Challenge, the meet manager, a gentleman who you've gotten to know relatively well, Coach Jason Lamont Jackson
Mm-hmm.
Sr., he went with the theme competition, camaraderie, and culture. They are
Yeah.
all of equal importance. Now, there's other options in America. This coming weekend and throughout the summer, there's a variety of national meets, and
Mm-hmm.
they can offer some of the absolute best competition an athlete could find. In my opinion, what they can't offer is some of these aspects that we celebrated so much at the XC Challenge, and we're looking forward to replicating next week. That camaraderie element was just so strong, that culture element was so important and so interwoven into all the activities that we did, both pre-meet, post-meet. And listen, we're bringing competitors over to the island, and I know your competitors yourselves over in Bermuda. So, when it's in between the lines, it's going to be all business, and we're going to see some great competition, some great sportsmanship, and we'll see how it all shakes out. That will be all told. That story will be told very soon. But undeniably, and to me, almost more importantly, is that culture piece and that camaraderie piece. We had so much fun. We engaged in so many recreational activities. The BNNA, Hazel Clark, Freddie Evans, Joe Battaglia, they put on so many great events and provided so many great opportunities for our athletes. Earl, honestly, that was the best part. Miles Utterbridge, he brings to the table some excellent skill. I think he's gonna enjoy some very stiff competition from some of the young athletes coming over from America. And I agree with you. I think that when he sees that competition, the goal is it's going to help him elevate his game, and in turn do the same for those visiting athletes. And we hold no favoritism. May the best man, may the best woman, win each race and each field event. But I cannot wait to see how it unfolds, and how these athletes elevate one another and help uplift one another's skill sets. Earl, I think you're on mute there. When I was talking,
Yeah.
you might have
So,
went
so
on mute.
Mark, yeah, I was. Give us a little bit of background on some of the schools that came for the cross country that will probably be on island for the TF challenge.
Well, it's a little bit of a two-parter. I had a look at the entries for our upcoming track meet, and then I had a little bit of a retrospective again, just to kind of remind myself of all the ongoings in the XC meet this past December. There's not a lot of overlap, but to start with the cross country meet, I mean, you have to give credit to the team from Grand Central Junction, way out in Western Colorado. I mean, that is an incredible road trip for them. They came in droves. It was a big program that Coach Ledlow brought over. Um, I asked him, what was the rationale for traveling such a long ways? They had a tremendous in-state season, and he said it was just such a great group of kids. He wanted to reward them and have kind of a bonding experience to one, celebrate the end of a great cross-country season, and as sort of a conduit into their indoor track and field campaign, and then subsequent to that, their outdoor track and field season. He brought over some major talent. Shalom Trowbridge, who won our cross country race. It might have been just a shade under 17 minutes. I'd have to look at the data, but again, a devastating course. I mean, this guy was an elite runner. He was the 7th place finisher at Class 4A, the Colorado State Championships this past cross country season. For those that know the Colorado high school scene, Class 4A is the strongest. So I mean, he's a Division One NCAA athlete. You know, when he arrives at the next level. We had a young woman from New Jersey who put on an absolute show in the ladies' race. The lead broke 20 minutes, and again, on a course that you just don't see every type of weekend. So we really brought some high quality talent, and that's going to be the same, Earl. This next experience we have with the track and field meet. I think Miles and a number of your other high caliber athletes are going to enjoy a great test in their various events next week. Earl, I think we're on the mute button there again.
I keep forgetting I muted myself.
Here I am on your show trying to direct traffic.
Yeah. But let's talk a little bit about Mile Split Bermuda. Mile Split in itself, a great platform to highlight athletes globally. And when we initially had our conversation, you were saying that Bermuda was going to be one of the first, if not the first, outside the U.S. to have this, and then building a partnership and a relationship, and having cross country track meet now with Bermuda. Does that elevate Mile Split to a different level of what one would have thought when they first started?
Yeah, I think that's very fair to say. And, full disclosure, I've been with the company since 2016. I'm a diehard, and maybe because of that, a little bit biased. There are other media entities that cover our space in America, but I mean, we are widely considered the source for high school track and field and cross country coverage, content, social media, and data. And the addition of our, what we like to call in a friendly way, our international expansion has added just a whole new element, a new layer to that already very comprehensive offering that we have with interviews, photos, formatted results into athlete profiles, race videos, workout videos. I mean, the feature stories, the list just goes on and on. You could literally spend all day long on our site if you wanted to. Earl, I credit you, for doing a great job in our debut out of country. And I also credit a young lady by the name of Catherine Lucas, who is the newest member of kind of our international expansion. She is a very promising young editor for Mile Split British Columbia in Western Canada. So we have sort of infiltrated the Caribbean, and we have lots of plans where we want to continue to expand. And we understood there to be certainly an appetite in the country of Canada to supply what we do. And we gave it a shot in a province, and it is off to just a rockin' start. And I see great things to come with our friends north of the border as well.
Exceptional work. What we're going to do, Mark, as I indicated at the top of the show, we're going to invite you back on Monday. I know you're traveling to Bermuda on Wednesday. We're going to try and get Dr. Freddie Evans, the president of the Bermuda National Athletic Association, as well as the head coach of the Bermuda National Athletic Association in Devon Bean, because by then we would know who is actually competing on the local side, and I'm pretty sure you will have some idea of who those athletes are who will be competing, coming in to compete, and hopefully we can get Hazel Clark on as well to talk about just the Bermuda experience of what it was like in December and what these young people can expect in June.
I would welcome that opportunity, Earl, and just as a reminder, a friendly bit of encouragement to those who are going to view this eventually in America, we have a registration deadline that we have extended right up until June 19th. So while it's getting late, there still is time to get involved. And I look forward to this follow-up conversation and providing a little bit more context into some of the athletes who will be coming over. At last count, I believe we have 8 states represented. Jason Lamont Jackson Sr. is bringing over a very talented crew from West Orange, New Jersey. I also connected with Coach Ralph Jones from Charlotte, North Carolina today.
Okay.
He talked a lot about some exceptional athletes at Charlotte Christian High School that he's bringing over. Again, they're going to enjoy all the fixins that the hospitable Bermudans offered last time, and really lean into that competition, camaraderie, and culture theme that we're going to roll with once again.
Sure. And maybe we can invite 1 or 2 of them to join us on Monday as well, as they prepare to come to Bermuda. And, expectations. Not to put a lot on the kids, but just what they want to see, happen on the track, happen in the field events, and just the experience of being on an island out in the middle of nowhere. That's where we are, out in the middle of nowhere.
You're out of the middle. You may be in the middle of nowhere, but I will tell you, Earl, the people of your island really make everybody feel welcome, and that happened as soon as I arrived. The gentleman who was driving our taxi, I saw the Bermudan money, and I was like, that's cool. I've never seen that before. He gave me one of your bills just for a souvenir.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that was just sort of a microcosm of my experience. Everyone was so friendly on the running trails. Everyone greeted me. People who identified me as being an out-of-towner when my wife and I were out to dinner had questions about who we are, where we were from. We just had a wonderful experience, and we can't wait to come back.
And we're actually hoping that we could double that experience this time around to make sure it's even a better experience this time. So, Mark, I want to thank you very much for joining me this evening. Folks, you'll be able to watch this on MileSplit as well as Island Stats. But look out for Monday. We will have another update and have some of those coaches and those people who will be involved in the Bermuda Track and Field Challenge, June 23rd and 24th at the Floridapi National Sports Center in Bermuda. So, Mark, we'll see you Monday, and then we'll see you in Bermuda later on in the week. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you so much, Earl.
All right.